very good evening to you. Thanks for joining us on the abridged version of the show. I'm Yemi Adebayo. There's a lot to talk about on the show tonight. As usual, we'll take you through what's happening on the domestic scene. We'll also tell you what's going on right as we're speaking. The English Premier League currently going on. Super Eagles forward Taiwo Awoniyi has got on the score sheet for his team, Nottingham Forest. We'll talk about that as we move on. We'll give you a slice of tennis from the United Cup on the show. We will also talk about the heroic reception that was given to Lionel Messi as a return to his French club side, Paris Saint-Germain. But let's start from home tonight. Let's take a look at what's happening in the Nigeria Women's Football League. Let's start with Group A and take a look at the results we're going to give you on the screen right about now. 3 matches played today, and there you go. Bayelsa Queens, of course, defeated Osun Babes 4-0. You also have Delta Queens beating Niger Ratels 2-0. You have Heartland Queens playing a draw, with a goalless draw, by the way, with Rivers Angels. Let's quickly flip and go to match day 5 from Group B. You have Nasarawa Amazons losing to Confluence Queens. Abia Angels had a slim 1-0 victory over Adamawa Queens. And, of course, Ibom Angels losing 2-0 to, of course, Edo Queens. Those are the results from match day 5 in the Nigerian Women Football League. All right, still talking about Hetty Narantes do Nascimento, popularly known as Pele. What's in the news? Of course, Cape Verde's Prime Minister Ulysses Correa da Silva has announced that the country's national stadium is to be renamed after Pele. Of course, Gianni Infantino, the FIFA president, made that call and, of course, pleaded with football-playing nations to honor the Brazil legend by naming at least a stadium after him. And, of course, Cape Verde has heeded the call. The 15,000-seater stadium, located just after the capital, Praia, will be now known as the Pele Stadium. The news comes after FIFA's president Gianni Infantino proposed that every country should name a stadium after the football legend who died last month at the age of 82. All right, still talking about Pele on the show. There's a little controversy going on, talking about the burial ceremony while Pele was lying in state. Gianni Infantino, the FIFA president, has been accused of being disrespectful because it was claimed that he took a photo call at the Brazil legend's funeral. But Gianni Infantino has insisted he would never disrespect Pele. He would never be disrespectful to the legend. Infantino took a selfie with some of Pele's old teammates on Monday, right beside the open coffin of the 3-time World Cup winner. Infantino insists he took the photo as Pele's friends seemed unable to operate their mobile phones. And so it wasn't that he was being disrespectful to Pele. As you can see the pictures right there on your screen. He has answered the critics and he said that was not the reason at all. He would never be disrespectful to Pele, especially on an occasion like that. All right, let's move on the show tonight. It's time to talk about the one who is definitely a future Hall of Famer, who by now people seem to have settled the debate as to whether or not he is one of the greatest footballers to ever play the game. Let's talk about Lionel Messi on the show tonight. Lionel Messi has received heroes welcome. Paris Saint-Germain has announced Lionel Messi has returned to the club after guiding Argentina to an epic World Cup final victory over France. The 35-year-old 7-time Ballon d'Or winner reported back to the club's training ground as they prepare for Saturday's French Cup tie at third-tier side Châteauroux. Messi was given a guard of honor by his teammates at the training ground before being presented with a small trophy by PSG sporting director Luis Campos. What a nice touch from PSG and the guys. And even today, Eddie Martinez, the Aston Villa goalkeeper, was, well received by the fans and the club. So also was done to a couple of other players from the Argentine squad when they returned to their clubs. All right, let's talk about what happened yesterday. Of course, a mild controversy ensued from the game between Arsenal and Newcastle. Of course, the Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta feels that, well, the Gunners should have been awarded at least a penalty in that game. His opposite number, talking about Eddie Howe, believes that there was no reason for the referee to have awarded any penalty. Both has contrasting views on what transpired in the game at the Emirates. And what we have decided to do on the show tonight is to allow you listen to both managers and make up your mind. Two shades of opinion, two different perspectives on the same issue. Very interesting. We listen to Mikel Arteta and, of course, his opposite number, Eddie Howe.
I'm really proud. The way we played, the way we dominated the game, the approach that we had from the beginning. We lacked that spark in the final third to find the opening, to find the right moment, an extra pass and a little bit the finishing quality, but we had a lot of situations in and around the box to do better. And then, yeah, there were two scandalous penalties. I don't know that we wanted to win it, and we still have that in the guts that we did, I think, more than enough, and we merit a different result, but we didn't get it. And when you can win, draw.
Arsenal are a top team, very good players, very good way of playing, so we knew we had to be at our very best. I think our resilience, into that second half, it was a long half for us, and I think probably in a year ago we would have found a way to concede there, and I think they've just got a newfound resilience to the team, and I think a lot of that's not just physical but mental as well. We managed to withstand pressure late in the game. The players' fitness levels is very, very high, and just the collective energy is very good at the moment. So I think all those things combined, we didn't concede. The handball, I think if it was the other way around, I'd be shouting for it. Probably not with the belief that it should be given, because I think the distance is too tight. I don't think Jacob's arm is aloft. I think it's by his side. So for me, that shouldn't be a penalty.
All right. Interesting views from two managers, Eddie Howe and Mikel Arteta, and what happened at the Emirates. What's your opinion on what happened? It's going to be interesting. We'll see as the days go by. All right, let's move on the show. Before we get into the studio, of course, it was halftime in the game between Southampton and Nottingham Forest. Of interest to us is the goal scored by Super Eagles forward Tawa Awoniyi in the 27th minute. We'll see what we can do as we go on with regards to the results. But let's tell you about the big one tomorrow. The big one tomorrow, and it's going to happen. That's it on your screen. Chelsea and Manchester City. It does not matter the current form of any of these two teams. It's a big game. It's a big game. Graham Potter and, of course, his troubles with the Chelsea team continues. It's going to be at Stamford Bridge, leading the Blues against Manchester City. Interesting days ahead. Let's see what happens in that game. But trust me, fireworks will be on display when those two sides play against each other. Both of them would rather lose to someone else than lose to each other. Let's move on now and talk about the manager of one of the teams, Pep Guardiola. He's been talking about Manchester City and, of course, reducing the gap, catching up with the Gunners. Is he playing mind games? A lot of people are asking questions. Is that what is happening here? Pep Guardiola has been talking about Arsenal. Of course, Arsenal led by his former assistant, Mikel Arteta, former assistant and fellow Spaniard, Mikel Arteta. Here's what Pep Guardiola has to say about the chances of Manchester City of catching up with the Gunners.
The way you have to reduce the gap is play good and winning games. So it's not for the fact. So they have an average for them. They're going to do 100 or 100 more than 100 points, Arsenal, in the way it has done so far. If they continue that way, we will not catch them. So you have to be almost perfect, I would say, here from the fin of the season. Expect that they drop a little bit his performance, because yesterday was excellent against Newcastle again. So, and we'll see what happens. That's why the prediction at the beginning of the season, when you asked in our first press conference, you said, how is your prediction? What was my answer? I don't know. So nobody knows, nobody expects what happened this season, and we will see what happens until the end. After World Cup, many things is going to happen.
All right, we'll see. I mean, early days yet, and of course, Pep Guardiola trying to sound, probably a lot of people thinking he's not giving away his real thoughts. I mean, early days yet, and of course, it doesn't look like it's an hopeless case. All right, we need to go on a quick timeout. When we return from that, it's going to be tennis all the way. We'll do our best to give you updates from what is happening right across England in the English Premier League. But of course, we'll spend many time talking tennis after we return from this timeout. All right, welcome back. Of course, we are on the home stretch now. Let's talk tennis on the show. A lot of people will want to know what's the update with Novak Djokovic. Novak Djokovic looks to be fit and everything. It's looking good for him. But here's the piece of news that a lot of Djokovic fans may not want to hear. Novak Djokovic is set to miss the Indian Wells and Miami Open ATP 1000 events this year if he remains unvaccinated against COVID-19. After the United States authorities said non-nationals will need to have taken their shots to enter the country. I mean, it's no longer news. Novak Djokovic stands against vaccination, receiving the shots. So if he remains unvaccinated, he definitely will miss those events. And who knows what will happen. A statement from the Transportation Security Administration said the requirement for foreign air travelers to be fully vaccinated against the virus will be in place until April the 10th. So until April the 10th, he will not be able to enter the United States if he remains unvaccinated. Indian Wells runs from March 6 to 19, and the Miami Open from March 20th to April 2nd. And of course, the Serbian risks missing the two important hardcore tournaments if he does not take the vaccine. All right, I do hope that something will happen because tennis fans would love to see the best tennis players play at every opportunity they have once they are not injured. That's the story with Novak Djokovic. A lot of people have been talking about 2023 and saying a fully fit Novak Djokovic might be able to eclipse Rafa Nadal, but that will depend on how many tournaments he plays, if he's able to get himself in tip-top shape by playing most of these tournaments that will lead up to the major events of the year. It's not going to have that problem with the Australian Open. The Australian authorities have given him a pass, so he will be able to play in that. Well, we keep monitoring that situation to see what will happen with the Serbian, the juggernaut, as a lot of people like to call him. Let's go on to talk about the inaugural United Cup. That's our next port of call on the show tonight. We're talking tennis, and it's going to be tennis all the way tonight. Inaugural tennis cup. Let's talk about Poland, and the Poland, they're through to the semis. Hubert Hurkacz and female world number one Iga Swiatek were the heroes for Poland after sending their country to the United Cup Final 4 in Sydney. That's the semi-final. The Polish stars won a deciding mixed doubles match in the Brisbane City Final, defeating Italy's Lorenzo Musetti and Camilla Rosatello 6-1, 6-2. Hurkacz had lost the men's singles match earlier, but returned to the Pat Rafter Arena with Swiatek, who had won the women's singles match to clinch the tie. The Poles were in control, as you can see from the pictures. They were in control throughout.
Stefanos Sakellarides.
Let's switch gears now and still talking the inaugural tennis cup. Maria Zakari and Stefanos Tsitsipas held firm in the tense mixed doubles decider against Djokovic and Petra Martic in Perth to clinch Team Greece a spot at the United Cup finals in Sydney. The Greek pair won 7-6, 6-4 to seal a 3-2 win in the Perth City final after a day of drama that saw four singles matches split. Sakari and Tsitsipas were both dialed in on serve throughout the 94-minute victory, winning 88% off points behind first serves, facing no break points and sending down 8 aces in that game to ensure that the Greeks are true to the semis. All right, and lastly, let's talk about the United States of America. The United States has sealed in its spots in the United Cup final when Francis Tiafoe rallied past Daniel Evans 3-6, 7-5, 6-3 to give his nation an unassailable 3-1 lead against Great Britain in the Sydney City final. Walking on to court with the United States leading 2-1, Tiafoe showcased his all-court game to improve to 3-0 this season. The world number 19 timed his forehand cleanly to pull Evans around, and he looked comfortable moving forward, clinically finishing points at the net on the Ken Rosewall Arena. All right, so that's it. Good one for the United States and sealing victory, getting into the last four. That's a wrap on the show today. We do hope that you enjoyed everything we've been able to do. Tomorrow is another day we have more time on our hands to take you on a trip across the money-spinning world of sports. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Bye-bye now.